Captain Elias Ward had never expected to be a hero. He was only 28, a human explorer with a love for the stars and a curiosity that sometimes got him into trouble. That day, he was on Veralia, a planet of strange colors and taller than human trees, studying the environment for the Earth Space Research Division. Veralia was beautiful, but it was dangerous too. Storms could appear without warning, and predators lurked in the thick forests. But Elias loved it. He had always loved the thrill of discovery. He was making his way through a dense jungle when the sky suddenly darkened. Ships, black and jagged, tore across the purple clouds. The sound of blasters cut through the quiet. Humans rarely came here, and anyone from Earth would recognize trouble when it appeared. Elias didn't need to think twice. He grabbed his laser sidearm and ducked behind a large, blue-leaved tree. Through the branches, he saw a group of tall, regal figures running. Their skin shimmered like liquid silver, and their eyes were large and golden. Elias had seen images of the Verelian people before. They were the most advanced species in this sector of the galaxy. And at the center of the group was one figure taller and more imposing than the others. Her crown glimmered with alien jewels and her silver cloak flowed behind her. This was Queen Lysera, ruler of Verelia herself. But she was in danger. Pirates, human-shaped but twisted with cybernetic implants, fired blasters and ropes to capture her. Their goal was clear: abduct the Queen and demand control over Verelia's rich resources. Elias knew that if the Queen was captured, it could start a war across several systems. Instinct took over. He ran toward them, ducking blasts and leaping over fallen branches. He wasn't a soldier, not really, but he had survived tough missions on Earth and in space. When he reached the clearing, he saw the Queen cornered by 3 pirates. She was unarmed, her hands raised in a gesture of surrender, and yet her golden eyes burned with determination. Elias raised his blaster. "Back off!" he shouted. His voice was hoarse but firm. The pirates turned toward him, surprised. One of them fired. Elias rolled to the side, firing back. The fight was chaotic. Sparks flew and alien trees groaned as blasts hit them. Elias ducked and ran, dodging ropes and lasers. He reached the Queen just as one pirate lunged forward. Elias grabbed a fallen branch and swung it like a club. The pirate fell back, stunned. Lysera's eyes widened for a moment, then narrowed in focus. "Quickly," she commanded. "The ship, the escape route." Elias understood. He ran, leading her through the twisting paths of the jungle. Blasts followed them, but he managed to duck behind rocks and strange glowing plants. Finally, they reached a hidden platform where the Queen's small shuttle was waiting. Lysera moved with a grace that surprised Elias. She was regal, yes, but also strong and determined. The shuttle's controls were complicated, filled with symbols he had never seen, but Lysera guided him. "Push here," she said, her voice sharp but not unkind. Elias obeyed. The shuttle lifted off and blasters missed them by inches. Through the cockpit window, he saw the pirates regrouping, anger flashing in their cybernetic eyes. They made it to the sky. The shuttle moved with speed, weaving through clouds. Elias looked at the Queen, trying to catch his breath. "You're amazing," he said. Lysera's golden eyes met his. "You saved my life," she said simply. There was no fear in her voice, only recognition. Elias felt a strange warmth at her words. He had always thought humans were small in the galaxy, not significant in the lives of other species. But here, on this purple world, he had mattered. The shuttle shook as a pirate ship caught up with them. Blasts hit the hull and warning lights flashed. Elias grabbed another blaster and fired through the open side window. One ship exploded in a cloud of metal and sparks. Lysera manipulated the controls expertly, dodging the remaining ship. "Hold on!" she shouted, and they soared above the clouds. Finally, they reached a safe zone, a hidden canyon filled with alien fog. The shuttle landed softly on a platform carved from stone. Elias jumped out, stretching his tired limbs. The Queen stepped beside him, her cloak fluttering in the wind. She looked at him for a long moment, and Elias felt as if she were weighing not just his actions, but his very being. "You have courage, human," Lysera said. "More than I expected." Elias smiled awkwardly. I did what anyone would do, I guess." Lysera shook her head. "No, not everyone would risk themselves for someone else. You acted without hesitation. That is rare." For a moment, they stood in silence, listening to the wind in the alien trees. Elias noticed the sky turning red as Verelia's twin suns began to set. It was breathtaking, beautiful in a way he would never forget. But he knew this was only the beginning. Pirates could return, or worse, Lysera's enemies might strike again. Before he could speak, Lysera moved closer. "You must leave, human," she said softly. "It is not safe for you to stay here. Virelia has laws, and politics, that you cannot understand." Elias felt a pang of disappointment, but he nodded. "I understand, but will I ever see you again?" Lysera's golden eyes met his, and for a moment her expression softened. "Perhaps," she said. Then her lips curved into the smallest of smiles. "Perhaps the stars will guide you back to me." Elias didn't know what to say. The shuttle doors closed, and he watched her rise into the sky, faster and more graceful than anything he had ever seen. He felt a strange emptiness as the lights disappeared into the distance. He had saved a queen, yes, but now he was alone in a strange world, surrounded by dangers and questions he could not answer. The next days were tense. Elias had to escape Virelia before authorities noticed him. The jungle was still dangerous, but he moved quickly, relying on his instincts. Every step reminded him of the queen's golden eyes and the promise in her voice. Back on Earth, the memory of Virelia and its queen never left him. He would often stare at the stars at night, wondering if he had truly mattered in a galaxy so vast. He knew he had done something important, but he also knew that the universe was full of secrets he might never uncover. Still, he had one comfort. He had acted when it mattered. And one day, perhaps fate would bring him back to the queen whose life he had saved. Even if he didn't know it yet, 5 years later, that moment would come. The stars were patient, and courage did not go unnoticed, even across galaxies. 5 years had passed since that fateful day on Virelia. For Captain Elias Ward, life had returned to its usual rhythm, but nothing felt normal. Earth had its comforts, familiar cities, friends, and family, but his thoughts were often far away, wandering through the alien forests of Virelia and replaying the memory of Queen Lysera's golden eyes. He had saved her life, yes, but the knowledge that he would never see her again weighed heavily on him. Elias had tried to continue his work as an explorer, accepting missions across the stars. He traveled to planets with rings of ice, moons that glowed with strange bioluminescent life, and even asteroid colonies far from the nearest sun. Everywhere he went, he collected data, discovered new species, and sent reports back to Earth Space Research Division. Yet no mission could erase the memory of that one day when he had risked everything to save a life that was not his own. His colleagues often joked about his obsession with the stars. "You stare at the sky like it holds your destiny," said Lieutenant Mara, his close friend and fellow explorer. "Are you waiting for someone to drop down from the clouds?" Elias would smile politely and nod, but he never answered. How could he explain that? Yes, he was waiting, though he did not know for whom. That memory was too precious to share. Meanwhile, on Virelia, life had changed too. Queen Lysera had returned to her palace, a structure of shining crystal that reflected the twin suns in dazzling patterns. The attack by the pirates had been a shock to the people, but Lysera had grown stronger because of it. She ruled with intelligence and fairness, balancing diplomacy and strategy. Her advisors often remarked on her unusual choices, especially her fascination with the human who had saved her. "No other human could have acted so bravely," Lysera said one evening, pacing the golden halls of her palace, "and yet he risked nothing for glory or reward. That is rare, even among the most honored Virelians." Her advisors were uneasy. "Your Majesty, humans are unpredictable. We cannot base our plans on faith in one human," said an older counselor. Lysera shook her head. "It is not faith. It is recognition. Courage like his leaves a mark. The galaxy is full of stars and dangers, but some individuals shine brighter than others. I will find him again." And so she began her search. Quiet at first, sending subtle signals through the starways, coded messages that only a human might recognize. She employed scouts and spies exploring nearby star systems, asking friendly alien races if they had encountered humans traveling alone. Each lead was followed carefully, but for years it seemed like Elias was always one step ahead. Or perhaps fate was keeping them apart. Back on Earth, Elias continued to grow in his career. He became known as a capable and reliable explorer, someone who could handle danger with skill and intelligence. Missions became more dangerous, but he accepted each challenge. He walked through alien deserts, dove into frozen oceans, and even survived a meteor storm in the asteroid belt. Still, in quiet moments, he would gaze at the stars and remember Virelia, The shimmer of its forests, the hum of alien life, and Lysra's voice saying, "Perhaps the stars will guide you back to me." He had tried to forget her, tried to push the memory to the back of his mind, but it was impossible. Courage, he realized, was not just about action. It was also about connection. And that connection, no matter the distance, had left a mark that could not fade. In the 5th year, a mission took Elias closer to Virelia than he had ever been since that day. He was surveying a system near the outer rim, collecting atmospheric data for possible terraforming. The planet he was studying was not Virelia, but its proximity brought back old memories with startling clarity. The twin suns of Virelia's system reminded him of her golden eyes. The way the wind moved through alien trees on this planet reminded him of the jungle he had crossed to save her. One night, as he set up camp under the glow of a strange moon, he felt a presence. Not physical, but something in the mind, a pattern he could not explain. Elias rubbed his eyes. Perhaps he was imagining it, the stress of years of travel and isolation making him restless. But the feeling would not go away. It was like a whisper carried across the galaxy, soft but persistent. Meanwhile, Lysra had not been idle. Her scouts had finally found a trace of the human who had saved her. It took months of analysis to be sure, but the pattern matched. Elias Ward, human explorer, now on a distant outpost in the outer rim. She prepared carefully for the journey. Lysra did not travel lightly. Her ship was small but fast, equipped with cloaking technology to avoid detection. She brought only her most trusted aides, knowing the importance of discretion. The journey was long, filled with the quiet hum of engines and the ever-present glow of stars outside her viewports. Lysra thought of Elias constantly. The years apart had only strengthened her determination. The memory of his courage, his quick thinking, and his kindness haunted her in the best way. She was not searching for glory. She was searching for a bond that had been formed in a moment of crisis, a bond that neither time nor distance could sever. Elias, on his part, did not know that he was being sought. He continued his survey work, noting the unusual atmosphere of the planet he was on, taking samples and writing reports. Yet, deep down, he felt anticipation, a strange pull he could not explain. Perhaps it was instinct, or perhaps it was the echo of a promise made across the stars. Back on Virelia, Lysra's aides expressed concern. "Queen, what if he does not wish to see you? What if humans have changed?" Lysra's golden eyes glimmered with resolve. "I do not seek permission, and I do not fear change. Courage does not fade, and neither do bonds formed in the fire of life and death. If he remembers, we will meet. If not, then I will remind him." Time passed slowly as Lysra's ship approached Elias's location. Every star they passed was a step closer to a reunion that both had imagined in their own ways. Elias did not know it, but the threads of fate were weaving them together again, as if the universe itself had decided that courage, loyalty, and kindness should be rewarded. The outer rim planet grew closer on his viewport. Elias packed his equipment for a survey trip the next day, unaware that the ship of the Virelian Queen was now nearby. The air was thick with anticipation, though he could not feel it yet. He looked up at the stars, feeling the weight of 5 years of isolation and adventure. Somewhere in that vast darkness, he hoped the human spirit he had always relied on would guide him, though he did not yet know how. Lysra's ship remained cloaked as it approached the hidden outpost. Her advisors watched carefully. "The human is close," one said. "Are you sure this is wise?" Lysra nodded. "The wise thing is not always the right thing. Courage waits for no one. Neither will I." And so, as the twin suns of a distant system set, Elias Ward, unaware, continued his work under the alien sky. Meanwhile, a queen he had saved 5 years ago drew nearer, her determination unwavering. The universe was about to bring them together again, but neither could predict what awaited them. Would he recognize her? Would the years apart have changed them too much? Only time would tell. But one thing was certain: courage, memory, and the quiet power of human heart had not faded. The stars, patient as ever, were ready to guide them to each other once more. Elias Ward woke to the soft hum of the outpost machinery. The distant light of a twin sun filtered through the dome's transparent walls, painting the alien landscape in shades of gold and purple. Today's mission was routine: scanning atmospheric samples, mapping mineral deposits, and recording any unusual life forms. Routine, yes, But there was a strange tension in the air he could not explain. He shrugged off the feeling, attributing it to years of exploration and the constant unknown of space. Yet something deep inside him prickled with anticipation. Elias had always trusted instincts even when logic warned otherwise. Today, his instincts whispered that something extraordinary was near. As he prepared his equipment, a ripple of light appeared in the sky, a shimmer he could not immediately identify. The sensors detected nothing unusual, yet the visual distortion grew. He frowned, adjusting his helmet. The shimmer resolved into a small, sleek ship, descending through the thin atmosphere. It moved with grace far beyond anything human design could achieve. Elias's heart quickened. Something familiar tugged at the edges of his memory. He stepped outside the dome and watched the ship settle on a nearby plateau, silent and precise. Its surface gleamed like liquid silver, reflecting the sunlight. No markings were visible at first, but then he noticed the subtle curves, the elegance, and the unmistakable sense of authority that seemed to emanate from it. The hatch opened, and a figure emerged. Tall, regal, and flowing in a cloak that shimmered like moonlight, the alien queen himself had spoken of, but it could not be real. Elias's mind raced, trying to make sense of what he saw. Queen Lysera. His voice was tentative, unsure if he dared speak the words. The figure turned and Elias froze. Golden eyes, bright and knowing, met his. The recognition was instant. A connection that neither time nor distance could sever. Lysera's gaze softened slightly, but there was no mistaking the strength in her presence. "Elias Ward," she said, her voice clear and commanding. "It has been 5 years," Elias swallowed. 5 years. So much time had passed. I thought I'd never see you again," he managed to say, awe and disbelief mingling in his words. Lysera's lips curved into a faint, almost imperceptible smile. "The stars are patient, human. But I am not. I have come because there are matters that require your attention and your courage." Elias's mind raced. "Matters, danger? Is someone threatening Varelia again?" She nodded. "Enemies from the past and threats that could reach beyond my world. Your experience, your knowledge of human tactics, may be crucial." Elias felt a mixture of excitement and apprehension. He had always wanted to make a difference, to prove that humans could stand among the stars not just as explorers, but as defenders and allies. Yet the thought of being drawn into alien politics and conflicts was daunting. Lysera's aides, standing behind her, observed him carefully. They were cautious, analyzing the human with scrutiny. Yet Elias could sense that their caution did not diminish the Queen's trust in him. She had made the decision to bring him here herself. "Come," Lysera said. "We must speak privately." Elias followed her toward the sleek ship. The interior was filled with soft light, symbols on the walls shifting like liquid, displaying information in patterns he had never seen before. Despite the alien surroundings, he felt an odd comfort in her presence, as if courage itself was a tangible force he could touch. "You have changed," Lysera said as they walked. "Not in appearance, but in spirit. The human I met 5 years ago. He would have acted, yes, but with caution. You have grown bolder, wiser, and stronger. I can see it." Elias smiled faintly, embarrassed by the praise. "I suppose time and experience do that. But I haven't forgotten you, or Varelia. Not a day has passed." Lysera paused, her gaze distant for a moment. "I have not forgotten you either. And that is why I searched. For years I followed leads across the galaxy, hoping that courage would guide you to the same path where our fates might meet again." The Queen gestured toward a viewing window, showing the purple forests of the planet below. "Our worlds are connected, Elias. Not just by friendship, but by necessity. A threat looms, one that could destabilize entire systems. I need your help to understand it, to prepare for it, and perhaps to prevent catastrophe." Elias nodded, absorbing the weight of her words. It was more than a reunion. It was a summons, a challenge, and a responsibility. Yet he did not hesitate. Courage, after all, had brought him here once before, and it would guide him again. "I'm with you," he said firmly. "Whatever it takes." Lysera's eyes softened, gratitude and respect mixing with the golden glow. "Then we shall begin immediately. But first, you must understand the dangers we face and the risks involved. Are you prepared for that, human?" Elias's mind raced with questions, but he nodded. "I have faced danger before. I will face it again." Lysera motioned to her aides, and a holographic map of the surrounding systems appeared. Symbols flashed marking fleets, outposts, and unknown signals. "These are the threats," she explained. "Some are remnants of those who attacked me 5 years ago. Others are forces seeking control of this sector. Your knowledge of human technology and strategy, it may give us an advantage." Elias studied the map, absorbing the patterns and anomalies. He could see the logic, the weaknesses, and the potential strategies. For the first time in years, he felt the thrill of purpose, not just survival, but leadership. "You understand, human," Lysira said, "that joining me in this is not without risk. There will be enemies, traps, and decisions that may test not just your courage, but your heart." Elias met her gaze. "I understand, and I accept. Courage is meaningless if it cannot be tested." A brief silence passed as they regarded each other. 5 years of separation, memories of danger, and unspoken connections filled the space between them. Yet there was also trust, a quiet acknowledgement that the bond formed in life and death circumstances could endure across time and space. Then, without warning, an alert flashed across the holographic display. "Incoming signal," Lysira's aide announced. "Unidentified vessel approaching fast." Elias tensed, his instincts kicking in immediately. Could it be an enemy? Lysira's eyes narrowed. Possibly. Or a scout from one of the factions I have been tracking. Either way, we must be ready. The ship's interior shifted into alert mode. Holographic displays expanded, weapon systems hummed, and defensive shields engaged. Elias felt a familiar rush, the rush of action, the necessity to act and protect. He was ready. He was alive in the moment, and courage coursed through him as surely as blood. The vessel approached with speed, sleek and dark against the stars. Lysira maneuvered expertly, evading scans and avoiding detection. Elias observed, impressed not only by her skill but also by the calm command she maintained. It was no wonder she was a queen. Her leadership was instinctive and precise. The unknown ship slowed near them, scanning. Elias held his blaster at the ready, though he trusted Lysira's strategy. "Do you want me to engage?" he asked. Lysira shook her head. "Not yet. Let them reveal their intentions. Patience is a weapon too." Minutes passed, tense and silent. The only sound the soft hum of the ship's engines. Then a message came through, spoken in a harsh alien tone. "Queen Lysira, you are trespassing in controlled space. Leave immediately or face destruction." Lysira's expression hardened, but her eyes briefly met Elias's. "This is why I brought you here," she said. "Together we will navigate this, human. Together, we will show that courage and intelligence can overcome even the greatest threats." Elias nodded. "Then let's show them what humans can do." As the two prepared to face the approaching threat, a bond of trust, courage, and shared purpose solidified. The queen who had once been saved by a human now stood side by side with him, ready to face the dangers of the galaxy together. For Elias Ward, the stars had finally guided him back to the one he had saved, and this time he was not alone. The unknown vessel hung in space like a shadow, scanning, waiting. Captain Elias Ward and Queen Lysira watched it from the command deck of her sleek ship, each of them aware of the risks ahead. This was no longer just a reunion. It was the beginning of a fight that would test human ingenuity, alien technology, and the strength of their newfound alliance. Lysira turned to Elias. "We cannot face this threat alone. You have knowledge of human tactics, improvisation, and strategy. I have Varelia's forces, technology, and loyal warriors. Together we must prepare." Elias nodded. "Then let's get to work. We'll need plans, defenses, and a way to predict their moves." The Queen's aides activated a holographic map of the surrounding star systems. Symbols representing fleets, outposts, and known pirate bases flickered across the display. Elias studied them carefully. Unlike many humans, he had learned to read alien symbols quickly. The information made sense to him. The positions of enemy ships, their likely strategies, and the points where they would be vulnerable. "We can set traps here," Elias said, pointing to a cluster of asteroid fields. "They will think it's just empty space, but we can use it to our advantage. We can control where they move and force them into positions where our forces are strongest." Lysira's eyes gleamed with admiration. "A human mind? Clever and decisive. I see now why I sought you. We will combine your tactics with Varelia's strengths, and we will be ready." Over the next several days, the alliance took shape. Elias worked alongside Varelian engineers, teaching them how to adapt their advanced technology with creative tactics he had learned during human space missions. Together, they developed mobile defenses, stealth strategies, and rapid response teams. The human and alien soldiers trained side by side, learning from each other's strengths. Elias noticed something remarkable. The Virelians were disciplined, skilled, and strong, but their approach was often rigid, relying on established protocols. Humans, on the other hand, were more flexible, thinking on their feet and improvising when situations changed. Where human creativity met Virelian precision, they became a formidable force. Lysera watched from the command deck, seeing the soldiers adapt under Elias's guidance. "Humans are truly remarkable," she said to one of her aides. "They may not be the strongest, but their courage, quick thinking, and determination are unmatched. Elias has brought that here in abundance." The first encounter came sooner than expected. Scouts reported a fleet of rogue aliens approaching Virelia's sector. These were remnants of the pirates who had attacked Lysera years before, now allied with other factions seeking to control trade routes and valuable resources. Elias studied the incoming fleet carefully. "They're testing us," he said. "They want to see our strength and our response. We'll need to strike with precision, not force." Lysera nodded. "Then we shall strike with intelligence. Human, I trust your judgment. Lead the strategy." The plan was simple yet daring. They would draw the enemy into a narrow corridor of asteroids, where the fleet's superior numbers would be less effective. Hidden Virelian ships would ambush from above and below, while humans would provide rapid response teams to intercept any breach. When the fleet entered the corridor, Elias and Lysera executed their plan flawlessly. Enemy ships were caught in the asteroid fields, their movements slowed. Virelian lasers struck with pinpoint accuracy, while humans improvised ways to disable enemy engines and communication systems. Elias's heart raced with excitement. This was the kind of challenge he had always dreamed of: danger, strategy, and the chance to make a difference. Every move required courage and quick thinking, and the human in him thrived in the moment. The battle was intense but brief. Enemy ships were disabled or captured, their leaders forced to retreat. Elias and Lysera had not only defended Virelia, but had demonstrated that humans and Virelians could fight together as equals. Afterward, the soldiers celebrated quietly. Elias walked among them, feeling a sense of pride he had rarely experienced. These were beings from a different world, yet they had trusted him, relied on his judgment, and learned from his strategies. He had never imagined that humans could earn such respect so far from Earth. Lysera joined him on the platform overlooking the victorious fleet. "You have shown your worth, human," she said, "not just in courage, but in leadership and vision. Your presence has changed the course of events today." Elias felt a warmth in his chest. "We did it together," he said. "Humans, Virelians, all of us. We were stronger because we worked as a team." Lysera nodded. "Yes, and that is why I sought you out. The universe is not kind to those who face challenges alone. But together, we are unstoppable." Days turned into weeks, and the alliance between humans and Virelians strengthened. Elias continued to train with the soldiers, sharing tactics and strategies, while Lysera coordinated diplomatic efforts to secure the support of nearby systems. The Queen's trust in him grew, and Elias, in turn, admired her intelligence, bravery, and the unwavering dedication she showed to her people. One evening, as they observed the twin suns set over the horizon, Elias spoke quietly. "It's strange," he said. "I thought I came here to help with a threat, but I feel like I've learned just as much. Courage, loyalty, and trust. These things aren't just for humans. They're universal." Lysera looked at him, golden eyes reflecting the fading light. "You understand, human, that heroism is not measured by strength alone. It is measured by action, by choices, and by the courage to do what is right, even when the odds are against you. You have taught my people that lesson, and you have reminded me why I trusted you all those years ago." Elias felt a deep connection, a bond that went beyond words. It was more than admiration, more than friendship. It was the recognition that two beings from different worlds could trust each other completely. But even in moments of reflection, danger was never far away. Reports came in of scattered pirate cells regrouping, seeking revenge for their losses. Elias and Lysera knew that the battle they had fought was only the beginning. They would need to remain vigilant, using every skill, every strategy. and every ounce of courage to protect Varelia and the galaxy beyond. Despite the challenges, Elias felt alive in a way he never had before. Humans were often underestimated in the galaxy, considered small and fragile compared to advanced alien civilizations. Yet here, working alongside Lysera and her people, he saw the truth. Courage, intelligence, and determination could overcome even the most formidable odds. The Alliance continued to grow, their forces stronger and more prepared with every passing day. Human creativity combined with Varelian precision created strategies that surprised their enemies and inspired their allies. Soldiers began to speak of the human who had saved their queen years ago, not just as a legend but as a symbol of hope and courage. One night, as the fleet rested in orbit, Lysera approached Elias. "You have changed my world, human, and perhaps in some small way you have changed me as well." Elias smiled softly. "And you have reminded me what courage truly means. It's not about surviving alone, it's about standing with others, facing danger, and protecting what matters." Lysera's gaze softened, a rare expression of warmth from the queen. "Then together, human, we will face whatever comes next. The galaxy is vast and dangers are many, but as long as we stand united, there is nothing we cannot overcome." Elias felt a surge of determination. He had once acted to save a life, not knowing what it would mean. Now, standing beside the queen he had saved, he understood the full meaning of courage and alliance. Together they would protect worlds, face threats, and show that bravery and ingenuity were universal, crossing species, planets, and galaxies. As the twin suns set once more, casting a golden glow over Varelia and the fleet below, Elias knew that this was only the beginning. The alliance was strong, their bond unbreakable, and the lessons of courage and trust would guide them through whatever challenges the galaxy would throw their way. And in that moment, human and queen stood side by side, ready to face the unknown, ready to show the universe what true courage could achieve. The day of the final confrontation arrived. Captain Elias Ward and Queen Lysera stood together on the command deck, the stars of distant systems shining like scattered jewels outside the viewport. Their fleet was positioned strategically near a dense asteroid field, their ships blending perfectly with the shadows of space. Every pilot, human and Varelian alike, was ready. Elias studied the tactical map projected before them. "They'll try to split our forces," he said, pointing to the clusters of enemy ships. "But we can use the asteroid field to our advantage. They'll underestimate the human element, the unpredictability, the improvisation." Lysera nodded. "Then we will show them what courage truly is. Not just mine, not just yours, but the courage of all who stand with us." The enemy fleet appeared on the horizon, dark and menacing, their ships sleek and dangerous. Elias could see the confidence in their movements, the arrogance of those who believed their numbers and weapons made them unbeatable. Yet he also saw opportunity, the mistakes they would make, the openings that human strategy could exploit. "Remember," he said to the fleet commanders, "we fight not just with lasers and shields, but with intelligence and courage. Stay flexible. Watch each other's backs. We can win this together." Lysera's voice, calm yet commanding, resonated through the fleet. "Today we defend more than a planet. We defend our people, our freedom, and the belief that courage and unity can overcome any threat." The first wave of enemy ships moved into the asteroid corridor, expecting an easy victory. But Elias's plan was precise. Hidden Varelian ships struck from above and below, while human pilots weaved unpredictably, disabling key enemy engines and communication arrays. The corridor became a trap. Enemy ships collided with debris, forced into positions where they were vulnerable to concentrated fire. Elias himself piloted a small human craft, darting through narrow spaces, targeting weak points, and improvising tactics on the fly. His hands moved instinctively, guided by years of experience and the memory of the day he had first saved the queen. Each maneuver was precise, each decision critical. Lysera watched from the command deck, awe and admiration shining in her eyes. "Humans are remarkable," she whispered. "Their courage is unlike anything I have seen." Hours passed in a blur of action, strategy, and tension. The enemy fleet, confident in its superiority, was gradually dismantled. Ships surrendered, retreated, or were incapacitated. Yet the battle was not without cost. Several Allied vessels were damaged, and Elias narrowly avoided collision with an enemy fighter that had slipped past the defenses. Finally, the flagship of the enemy fleet came into view, a massive vessel bristling with weapons, faster and stronger than any other ship Elias had faced. Lizara's eyes narrowed. This is their command ship. If we take it down, the rest will scatter. Elias nodded. Then let's finish this. Together. The Queen and the human led a coordinated strike, combining human unpredictability with Varelian precision. Laser beams crisscrossed the void. Shields flared and explosions lit the darkness of space. Elias maneuvered close to the enemy ship, finding a weak point in its armor. With a precise strike, he disabled the primary engine, leaving it vulnerable. Lysra's forces capitalized immediately, targeting the ship's weapon systems and communication arrays. Within moments, the flagship was incapacitated. The enemy fleet, seeing their leader disabled, faltered and eventually retreated. Victory belonged to the Alliance. Silence fell over the battlefield. Stars reflected off the remaining ships, now safe and steady. Elias exhaled deeply, relief and exhilaration coursing through him. He had faced danger and emerged not only alive but triumphant. Lysra approached him on the command deck, her cloak shimmering in the soft light. "You were incredible, Elias," she said. Her golden eyes glimmered with respect and something deeper, something unspoken for years. Elias smiled, a mix of pride and humility. "We were incredible together. Humans, Varelians, everyone. Courage is stronger when it is shared." For a long moment they stood in silence, watching the stars. The danger had passed, the threat defeated. Yet the bond between them felt stronger than ever. They had trusted each other, relied on each other, and proven that courage and intelligence could overcome even the most overwhelming odds. Lysra took a step closer. "There is something else, Elias, beyond this victory, beyond the battles and strategy. You have shown my people the strength of humans. You have shown me the strength of your heart." Elias felt a warmth he had not experienced before. "I only acted because it was right. Because courage demands action. I never expected anything in return." Lysra smiled softly. "And yet life has given us more. A reunion, yes, but also the chance to build something lasting. Trust, alliance, and perhaps friendship." Elias looked at her, seeing not just the queen he had saved 5 years ago, but a leader who trusted him, respected him, and recognized the value of human courage. "Then let's make it lasting," he said simply. In the days that followed, the alliance solidified. Humans and Varelians trained together, planned together, and shared knowledge. Elias continued to teach tactics and improvisation, while Lysra ensured that diplomacy and strategy extended beyond their fleet. The bond between the species grew stronger, based on respect, courage, and mutual understanding. Finally, a formal ceremony was held in the heart of Virelia's capital. The queen invited Elias to the center of the Crystal Palace, where the people had gathered to celebrate their victory and honor the human who had saved their queen years ago. Elias stood quietly as Lysra spoke to her people. "Today we celebrate not just a victory but a lesson. Courage knows no bounds. Loyalty transcends species, and heroism can be found in the most unexpected places. This human, Elias Ward, saved my life, and in doing so, has reminded us all of the strength within our hearts." The crowd erupted in applause, cheering for the human who had once risked everything. Elias felt a mixture of humility and pride. He had never imagined that his actions would have consequences so far-reaching, across worlds and stars. After the ceremony, Lysra approached him privately. "Elias, the choice is yours. You may return to Earth, continue your missions, or you may stay. Virelia will always be your home as long as you wish it." Elias looked around at the crystal halls, at the faces of people who had come to respect him, and at the queen who had trusted him beyond measure. He felt the pull of the stars he had always loved, but he also felt a new sense of belonging here. "I think," he said slowly, "I want to stay, not just for the victories or the missions, but for the people, for this world, and for you." Lysra's golden eyes softened and she extended her hand. "Then welcome home, Elias Ward. You are a hero not just to me but to all of Virelia. Together we will face whatever the future holds, and we will do it with courage and honor." Elias took her hand, feeling the warmth and strength of her presence. For the first time in 5 years, he felt truly at peace. The journey that began with a single act of courage had brought him here, to a place where trust, friendship, and bravery transcended distance, time, and species. As the twin suns set over the horizon, Elias and Lizera stood together watching the sky. The battles were over, the threats defeated, and the stars stretched endlessly before them. Full of possibility, the universe was vast and unpredictable. But Elias knew one thing for certain: courage. Loyalty and trust would always guide him, and now he was not alone. The human who had once saved an alien queen had found his place among the stars, and she had found him. 5 years later, to begin a new chapter together, the stars twinkled in approval, silent witnesses to courage rewarded, bonds strengthened, and a new future awaiting.